exploding head syndrome. I wonder what act of violence could bestow Tim. The ice is breaking! Marianne's voice roared over the intercom. I skid into Tim's office, barely avoiding the edge of the opening door. Everything's fine, there's just a minor crack in the ice, he said, eyes wide open. That ice is several 100 meters thick. Everything's fine. His knuckles were white as he gripped the back of his chair. A red tentacle flailed outside the window. I know what to do. He reached into his drawer, pulled out a headset, and strapped it onto his head. He dialed into the external speaker system to address what waited outside. Attention! You are trespassing on Spacechem territory. We will not surrender to hostile action. Turn away now! Another tentacle slipped into view from under the ice. It's not going to leave. It's not human, I said. They're covered in this They covered this in management training, Tim replies. We stared at one another for several moments. We had never been in this kind of situation before. A high-pitched noise blasted through the headset. Tim fell onto his knees, clawing at the device on his head. He glanced up to me, his eyes wide with panic, and opened his mouth to scream. There was a thud against the window as the tentacle slammed against the glass. Thousands of tiny cups clung to the window. The shriek rose higher, and as tears streamed down Tim's face, I could no longer hear it. Tim's head exploded, sending chunks of flesh and blood flying across the office. Marianne screamed. I stared out to the tentacle as something wet slid down my neck and landed on my shoulder. Do we have any weapons? I asked. No, this is a research facility, Marianne says. I picked a piece of Tim off my collar. It was a nostril. Marianne paced in front of the door. We have nothing to defend ourselves with. The rocket isn't fueled. What if our escape pods don't work? Does it matter? We won't make it. The rocket, that's it! I pushed past her and ran down the hall. Her footsteps echoed as she followed. Marianne is like our secretary or something. Gorgantuthar. Oh, okay, so all these monsters have names. Okay, so here's his tentacle he's slapping us with. Okay, so what do we got here? We got water, and we need... What? We have water, and we need to make hydrogen, oxygen, and plutonium. It's the missile payload. Minimum 2. We need at least 2, 5, and 25, and 2. Okay. So this must have been that level that I was remembering plutonium from. Just wondering. I can't move these notes, but I can put reactors there. So we have a reactor quota of 4, which means it shouldn't be too difficult. The trick is going to be that plutonium. Otherwise, everything else should be fairly simple. Now, in this case, similar to the last level, we need to break up that oxygen, or break off that oxygen. But this time, I think we learned our lesson from that last level. We need something super efficient to be breaking up that oxygen. But the added bonus of this time is we don't have to worry about creating anything out of that oxygen. We just need to yeah, okay. We just need to get it out the door. I'll let another reactor worry about bonding all these. I mean, I guess it might be worthwhile to think of an overall plan right now, but we have a sensor, fusion, and storage. Storage is going to be pretty useless that I can think think of right now, but I can think of one use actually. But the main thing is I need to have another reactor that's worried about how do I split up all these, because we only have 2 molecules to work with, or 1 molecule, 2 atoms to work with. So I'm going to need one reactor to worry about, you know, taking some excess and sending it out to create that plutonium. So let's check our periodic table here real quick. And plutonium is 94. I remember that. Sure. So 94, and we can possibly make that. No, we can't make that out of oxygen unless we use X amount of oxygen and then 4 hydrogen on it. Which doesn't seem too wise. I don't think that's wise because, well, it's gonna take a long time to make it out of oxygen, right? I mean, a really long time. And we need 2, minimum 2, not optional 2. It has to be minimum 2, at least 2. Well, pretty obviously we need to, I think it's the best thing to just start with is let's just create a super efficient machine that gets this hydrogen and oxygen out the door. Because as we saw in that last level, we were just waiting for the hydrogen all the time. Or at the very end, we were waiting for the oxygen to become what it needed. Give these people air. I'm kind of thinking to output the hydrogen here and output the oxygen here. The only problem is I don't really like these spots because later on the line it's going to make it difficult to grab there. It makes it impossible to, you know, cross with it, like we were talking about, where you pass through the area it appears once and then you pass through it again, and you can't use an arrow there because it'll make everything that passes through that spot go a certain way. But if you have no arrows, you can pass through it twice. However, when you use it in this corner, it makes it impossible as an output because it's right here. You can't pass through that. You just hit it and you have to turn. Otherwise you crash into the edge of the reactor. Game over, man. So the idea I have right now, it won't work here because it appears right here. Okay. So I'm thinking we will just have just a quick loop of some kind, maybe just like this. That seems to make sense to me. If I rotate it once, then I can I'm thinking I'll just grab the oxygen and have the oxygen output here or here. And if I want, I can change it later here if I'm having a ton of trouble. But I doubt I will, because probably what'll happen is I'll have to split those outputs again later, and I'll show you what I mean. Because obviously if we have all oxygen going to make this and all hydrogen going to make this, we're going to run into a problem where we have no plutonium. So the input doesn't matter a great deal as far as I can tell right now, because eventually we're going to have to borrow it for a different reactor. Unless we get super creative, which I kind of used up all my creativity on the last level. So, in, grab, probably rotate. Let's see how it works. I can never visualize the orientation of rotate very well. So that is what we want. Now why don't, as soon as I hit this, I'll just debond everything. Dropped it. And now I'll just have red figure out where it wants these exactly. Maybe I'll use a sync to keep blue from crashing into that again. It's a pretty short loop here, but let's see what we can do. We probably have to have red move this one first, because if we pick this one up and drop it, because this one's going to be in the way sooner. Well, let's just see. The reason that won't work is it'll just go into this endless loop of this. This will also have the same problem. There's a sync here, probably not, or at least not easily, without two syncs at least on blue. I might as well rotate here, and then sync here so that red can finish. I might need two syncs on red. And two on blue. If it waits here, we can possibly just rely on this single sync to give us a good idea that this is probably done. I don't like that idea. Because I just don't like that idea because I can't even remember exactly. Okay, let me see. The reason is blue is not there already. This sync is originally here to make sure to tell red, hey, it's clear, there's something here to pick up and move out. just thought of one idea, which is we have this bond go on over here, and then we can just have red grab this one that's in the way earliest, send it out. Let's see. Let me imagine what that looks like. Goes, grabs it, out, grabs it, out. Hold on. Grabs it. Grabs it, goes out. Grabs it, goes out. I think, let's try this. Oop. Grabs it. Sends it out like right there. Grabs this one. Ah, shoot, we need it. Grabs it. Goes out. I don't know if this is any faster. Well. Ah! Whoa! I just realized this is a sensor reactor. We do have this. Does this help us at all? Can we use it at all? Not really. What we could do is we could have blue help out with moving those hydrogens. Because as soon as he drops it, he's kind of free for a while. I like this idea actually. I'm getting too used to using this method of crossing over. And the reason it's not good to do that a lot is later on you don't have room. And look how fast this is already looking a lot shorter without that. Grab it and put it where? Put it here maybe? And then red just says, thank you very much, I take that. Grab that. Well, this looks a lot shorter. There's still not the amount of sinks needed here. There was a problem where, and I've done this before just for fun, is have two Waldos grab, so Red's not grabbed yet, but he will soon. They're both grabbing the same Waldo, and I've done it for fun where they're both grabbing the same Waldo, and then Blue, like, let's go, and then, so Blue brings it in, and then Red grabs it, and then Blue, let's go, and it continues like that. And I've done that just for fun, but here they're pulling two different directions, and no, game won't allow that. For good measure, you can't just rip the... My envisioning is, well, two things. You can't just pull Adam apart like that. And my other thinking is Waldos are kind of sensitive. Well, obviously. Waldos they're some kind of like electrical pulse that's just moving the atom around. Wow, look at that. The hydrogen followed that other molecule really closely. Too closely, they crashed. Okay, now that's pretty good. Finish with him. You won't be able to finish with everyone wrong. Oh wait. Yes, you will be able to finish. Now I realized that this is a sensor reactor, and so we have this sensor thing to work with. So I was thinking, well, if I just have, I can send Red into an endless loop, but I can get him out with a sensor check. Which is kind of like using a go-to statement in programming, which I do not do just for a lot of different reasons. Maybe I'll explain it later, but I do use them on occasion. I use them probably more than I should, but I try not to. But in this case, I don't. It's fine. So how do I want to do this? The first one is fine. And I was kind of staring into the abyss because I thought, well, we could have Blue rotate and go in there again and then get out with the sensors, with the sensor check. That would make this honestly possibly easier. But all that work I did on this would be for nothing. Let's check right here. How are we gonna... If we grab... We go in here. Okay, we grab. No. Now this one, we want to grab this one first because this one's in the way more than that one. Maybe. It's further away, I guess. Grab, drop it. We grab again. Yeah, that makes no sense. We might as well just have blue do it. I mean, I'm sorry to throw all this work out the door, but this was just ill-conceived. We got this great sensor, let's use it. Check here. Yeah, this will work fine. I'll say if you have a hydrogen right here, then go up. Otherwise go straight and drop off that oxygen. If you have a hydrogen there, what I want you to do is go up here. Yeah. Go up here and break it off right there. It's fine. Break it off like this. We will rotate you. Whoops. So he'll go this way. I suppose, I think. Pretty sure. Whoops. Hey, didn't grab anything. Yep. Red will move it up. Maybe here, maybe here. And output it. Red, where are you, buddy? Come on, man. And drop it. Throw a sink in there for good measure. Hopefully we won't need that. Let's see, we have a storage. Let's try it without the sink. If we have to come back and do a sink, it's possible. It's entirely possible. Drop. just working on blue, getting him wrapped up. Let's switch this way. We got another clockwise machine, except for here he goes counterclockwise. Oh, geez. Well, that's not very good now, is it? You can't be... Anyways. Let's use a sink. The sink will help red know when to try and grab and move it. So what's the problem here? Yeah. Blue's not fast enough there, so I'm going to do it like this. The nice thing about this is if you can't output for some reason, and that really better not happen, blue will not continue. So blue won't bring another one in and crash. Now, is this fast enough? We really need an efficient machine. I'm not sure this is fast enough, but... Okay, pipe's full. That won't happen, or that shouldn't happen, because we're going to be using those. But this should be super fast, so hopefully. Anyways, we'll deal with that when we get there. Okay, now what do we need to do? Now we need to build this and this, but we also need to borrow some of those for use on this. So that is the tricky business. Well, we need to borrow what? 10 oxygens? $90 divided by 5 is 18, not 9. 9 would be 45. So we need a lot of oxygen to make this plutonium. 18 to be 18 to almost get there. And then 4 hydrogen. The other option is 94 hydrogen. Also not a great solution. So what do we got here? The hydrogen is the missile fuel. The oxygen is the oxidizer. Okay. And, oh, okay. I guess it works with the plutonium. And then, that doesn't seem right, but I guess so. Okay, it's pure oxygen, maybe. Okay, which is very dangerous. And the plutonium is the payload, or the catalyst, I guess you might call it. Okay. That's very cool, but it doesn't help us worth a damn figure this problem out that we're having. We do need at least one fusion reactor. Fusion reactor will have to make the plutonium, but how? I guess there's no point to do that unless the storage tank fits here, which it doesn't. Now what does fit here is like this. Just so we... I mean, I don't know if I'm going to do this, but okay, that would be hydrogen buildup. Could be useful. Anyways, we'll keep that in mind. Maybe we'll just do it. Consider its usefulness later. Because I don't, whatever I do, I don't want this machine stopping. So that kind of makes sense. Again, avoiding the main problem, the main question of how do we build these while also borrowing a couple of these? Well, what we could do, since it's a defense level, we have access to this. And I think now that I think back, I'm pretty sure I used in at least one of my solutions, because like I said, I played this twice, so in at least one of my solutions, I just used a control to say, you know, I just waited till this hydrogen had built a plutonium, and then I used the control to say, okay, you're done building it, you can send it out now. But that kind of defeats the challenge of this game. Whoops. Gargantuar. But what I maybe consider less of cheesing this level would be maybe using a control to switch it from, okay, you have borrowed, instead of borrowing oxygen now switch to borrowing hydrogen. Now, if memory serves, we can shoot him anytime, I guess. Oh! Just hit our base. We don't have to wait like we did on some of those other defense levels for a certain time. Oh, I feel like eating pizza. Can fit basically nothing in these 4 spots. Maybe you can fit one of these. You can't get a pipe connected to it. Stop avoiding the question at hand. think what I'm gonna do, I'll build a reactor that in one control, in one control, it'll build up using the control during actual play, these guys. In one control, it will build up plutonium, and in another control, it just outputs that oxygen. Just that oxygen. No, it just, boop, sends it down the line to the next reactor. And for that, we will of course need a fusion reactor. Oh, hey. Yes, thank you. Maybe we'll do it down here. No, we can't. No, have it do it. Oh, he can't move. I was trying to go straight, but it's blocked. I gotta write this note, which is the hydrogen is always here, and the oxygen is always here. Drop? No. The oxygen goes there. Yes. Yes. Now, we gotta figure out, using a control, not exactly sure how it's gonna work, but it should work. Okay, I got one idea. We will borrow 4 hydrogen at the very beginning. Then, from then on, we just boop, 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 fuse all this oxygen to it. Shoot! I just realized something, which is we can't have 3 different outputs now, can we? Because hydrogen, oxygen, or hydrogen goes out here. Because event. Anyway, I'm pretty sure you know we need those hydrogen over here and here too. But foolishly, I've decided to create the plutonium first in the line, or at least have it. Anyways, this is just the plan we're going with right now. So we can't have 3 different outputs now, can we? So we can either put hydrogen and oxygen out again right here, or, and this is my crazy idea, so we can either put, plutonium out here and oxygen and hydrogen out here, but that creates a problem later because, hey, we have to sort all this hydrogen and oxygen again. But my crazy idea is this. That plutonium, you know the one I'm talking about? He gets mixed in with the oxygen or the hydrogen. And we use a sensor reactor down the line, and every time it's trying to build something, it just checks, hey, is this plutonium? If it is, I can't use it. I need to send it out and try again. I think that's pretty cool. I guess. I wonder what happens if you fuse beyond the heaviest element, Nobellum. I wonder if it just crashes the game. Or, I mean, crashes the... probably doesn't crash the game, probably just crashes the reactor. With an error message. I'm sure it does, but we'll have to test that some other day. So, I'm thinking how this is going to work is like this, where, shoot, it should be more like that. No, it doesn't. I keep mixing up the input. The grab is here always, the input doesn't matter. Okay, so it inputs it, grabs it. If we want to build plutonium, it'll go down here. Otherwise, it just sends it on down the line, here. So far, seems plausible. We would have to manually say forward though, because I can't make it smart enough to do it 4 times. Yeah, it has to be 4 times. And blue's gonna have to move it here once, because we can't just fuse it to nothing. Well, we can either drop it here and have blue... No, let's just drop it here. And we're gonna have to go down this way, because we just have to. So 4 times it'll do that by manual process. I know, it's not perfect, but it is what it is. And I mean, I think that's pretty reasonable. I'll try to have... I guess I can't. Shoot. This is gonna be tricky. I don't know what I've gotten myself into. I should have just built it out of hydrogen. Because if I want blue also moving these things over here, how's he gonna be smart enough to switch to oxygen fusing over here? Now, I guess it's not impossible. I'd say let's just try it, see what happens. because nothing's going to be resting here. Oh, we still got to figure out how to get it over into the output area. It's a mess. I think blue has to be a loop, otherwise it'll crash eventually. Now, in the case of this guy, the first time he has to grab that and put it in there, I guess. This will always be grab, as far as I can tell. See another problem. How am I gonna? Well, I could use another control of the B type that tells red, hey, after you've dropped off this thing, you need to go down and grab this finished product. And like drop it here or something. I guess that would work. As long as it's empty. If it's got, you know, something here, it's gonna crash. It's gonna collide. So let's figure out blue. Blue is a little bit tougher. Kind of got that down. But in this case, it grabs it, it drops it here, and then what? Now we need, the trickiest part is to part is going to be moving or putting 18 oxygens into this. Without a sensor. I guess one cool or one interesting but not very good idea is to send it, like put an oxygen on there and send it out to another sensor reactor, and then the sensor reactor says, is this plutonium? Nope. Send it back. Not a good idea. Right now we gotta figure out this situation. Control A is to kind of get it started. But the thing is, we don't want B doing that again. We only need it to do it once. Yeah. Red has to do that 5 times. Okay, let's use a sink. just have blue wait here. And then let's see if we can do without that for now. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now that catalyst, you know, the starting carbon or whatever molecule or atomic weight is 4. I guess it's, geez, what is it? I guess it's beryllium. That'll be made. Now he can go into some kind of system where he inputs and fuses 18 carbons. 2 ways to do this. One is, my first idea is just put him in the loop where he, you know, inputs and fuses. Jesus Christ, this is not good. How are we gonna have Red stop on all this? Because Red needs to stop. I guess maybe we can try to figure out a way to trick him to stay here for a while. Or we can have him stop here so that he's not doing anything. That's a good idea. I'm gonna put this here to remind me of that. Okay. Then, okay, so my first idea is to just do a loop where he does it until we release him with another control. But you know what? It's too many controls. Don't like it. Am I really gonna do 18 different fuses though? Fuse and inputs. Well, B is to signify that it's done. Sad. Because I'm thinking if we do it that way, we might have a situation where he's traveling along and then he crashes into here. It's gonna not be happy. But